Welcome everyone! You guys are in for a treat today. In this game, Vassily Ivanchuk gives an awesome demonstration on how to get an ongoing initiative and attacking the king. I'll say no more, he played Boris Gulko, Chucky had white and opened with e4, e5, knight to f3, and after knight to c6, we have a Scotch game after d4. Now at the top level, this is mainly played to avoid the massive amount of theory of the Spanish and Italian openings, but it's still a decent opening. Pawn takes, knight takes, bishop c5. Knight to f6 is slightly more common, but this is very normal as well. The knight is attacked, so bishop e3. Queen f6, attacking the knight a third time, therefore c3. Knight from g to e7. And here, bishop to c4 was played, developing the bishop to an aggressive square, and after this game was played, this became the most popular line. Now, one decent way of playing for black would be knight to e5, immediately attacking that bishop. When it retreats, go queen to g6, eyeing up the white king side, so castles. And now, not taking on e4, because white will get an initiative after knight to d2, but simply opening up the light-squared bishop with d6, and black really has no difficulties at all. In the game, however, Gulko played queen to g6, and believe it or not, already now white has a very strong attack. First, Chucky took on c6, and after queen takes, now a move we all love to play, he sacrificed the bishop on f7. Now this is all about the initiative. Black has to take, otherwise he's just a pawn down for nothing. But when he does, the king will be wide open for more threats and white just gets an ongoing attack. Let's see how that worked out. King takes, queen check. Black decided to block with the knight. Personally, I would have blocked with the queen, because we either trade queens, which would be desirable for black, or after queen takes bishop, black would get play himself with queen takes g2. That didn't happen, knight to g6 was played, but then first another check, and after king to e8, Ivanchuk won his piece back. Now Gulko decided to play actively and won his pawn back, which certainly gives more practical chances, but now the knight developed with tempo. Now taking another pawn would be very dangerous for black. First, white would castle. Black can't allow white to take on c7, so queen to c6. But then the queen just slides to h5, and white just has so many easy strong moves, bringing the rooks to the open files, bishop d4 targeting g7. Meanwhile, black's king is on an open file and he barely has any development. So definitely don't take on g2. Gulko didn't do that, he went queen to c6 right away, guarding the c7 pawn. But again, queen to h5. Now Gulko decided to go park the king on d7, so first d6, castles, bishop e6. But after bishop to d4, planning to bring the second rook over, it turns out that the natural king to d7 is a mistake. Black's best would have been to trade queens like this, and even though white can take on g7, black would get enough play after knight to e5, and after white defends against the attack on g2, black can just go king to d7 and he's still okay. In the game after king to d7, Ivanchuk got a chance to set up a nice combination. First f4, threatening to fork bishop and knight, so knight to e7, but then f5 came anyway. Black must have thought he prevented that move, but no. After bishop takes and rook from a to e1, you can see this is awkward for black. If white could play rook takes knight, then the bishop is hanging and the king on e7 will be more vulnerable to an attack. The g7 pawn is already hanging and black cannot hold everything together. Gulko played g6, but let's briefly check black's other options. If black tries to secure the bishop like this, then first a check, king to d8, the only reasonable move, but then simply bishop takes pawn, not really to win the pawn, but to use the f6 square, so that after rook to e8, bishop f6 pins the knight, And then white will just pile up on the pinned piece with queen to g5, and it's just a dreadful position for black. And if instead rook from h to e8, then white can just win 2 pieces for a rook. And when the rook blocks, white can just keep it simple and take on h7. Meanwhile, g7 is still hanging with check, and at the very least white can simply start advancing the h-pawn. Going back to the game, black doesn't really have good moves anymore. After g6, Ivanchuk still gave the rook for the knight, dragging the king to e7, then queen check, and after king to d7, white simply remained a piece up after bishop takes rook. If rook takes would be played, then there's again a winning tactic. Rook takes bishop, pawn takes, queen g7 check, white wins the rook back and is still a piece up. Gulko didn't like that too much. He tried to complicate things with queen b6 check and taking on b2, but this is not difficult anymore. Ivanchuk first attacked the bishop and then went rook to b1. Now he's also crashing through on b7 after queen b5 check and queen takes pawn. The rook is attacked, so rook to d8. And now Chucky wanted to end the game in style. He went rook to f1, just cutting off the king with the rook, but leaving his knight en prise. Gulko did take it, but surely he knew that he was lost. After queen takes c7 check, the bishop blocked, but after bishop f6 check, king e6, and queen c4 check, Gulko decided enough was enough and resigned. Why did he resign? If the queen blocks, then queen e2 check, and when the king runs away, then queen e7 check, king g8, and queen g7 is mate. And if black tries d5, then a check from a6, and after king to f7, there's a simple discover check, and after bishop takes queen, it's really all over for black. Very nice game. That really was a masterclass in how to take the initiative. Remember, all of this happened just because black played queen to g6 here on move 7. Then the queen got dragged away from the king's side with this. And when bishop takes f7 hit, it was clear one-way traffic from there. Very nicely played. Let me know in the comments what you think of this game. If you liked the video, please simply leave a like and feel free to enjoy many other games in the playlist. More games are already underway. I'll be seeing you guys again soon, and take care.